Hi awesome souls, this is Donna and welcome to my mat. Welcome to Emergencyoga. I have my little pupster Buddy here with me today who is probably going to take over the mat at some point during our class. But I so wanted to share this particular class with you because it's the Sunday right before the Generali Genève Marathon. And as a yogi and a runner myself, and somebody who has lots of friends running the marathon this year, I really wanted to share with you a yoga class that is perfect for race preparation as well as after your run. So whether you're running the full marathon, the half marathon, the 10K, the Nordic walking, this is a fantastic class to do both before and after your race. And you can do the entire class all as one piece, or you can do different pieces of the class depending on what you feel you need. So I'm going to offer you a lot of different options, and you choose what feels really works for your body and your race preparation and recovery. I also wanted to share this because I've done a lot of runs myself. I've done the Geneva Half Marathon many times, lots of trail races, and yoga has always been the thing that I use to both prepare and repair my body after running. So it served me so well over many decades, and that's why I wanted to offer this to all the runners that will be running through Geneva this weekend. All right, first things first, you don't have to have a yoga mat. Some comfy clothes and a space where you can stand up and lie down is enough. You do need a few props. I'm sitting on a cushion. Hard blocks, or if you don't have hard blocks, hardcover books are also a great prop, or a blanket is also another beautiful prop. So if you need to press pause to go and get those, go and grab them. If you're all set to go, let's get going. And you might be surprised, but we're going to start with some breathing. What do we do when we run? We breathe. So we're also going to do this in yoga as well. And I want you to find whatever a comfortable seat means for you. So I'm sitting cross-legged on the floor because I do that all the time. But if you want to sit on your sofa or in a chair or in any other position, just take something that feels really comfortable. A place where you're seated and you can feel your spine become very straight, your shoulders relaxing away from your ears, and just rest your hands in your lap in any way that feels comfortable for you. And you can keep your eyes open, or you can just lower them or close them. And I want you to just focus for a few minutes on your breath. So notice how the breath moves in and out through the nostrils, which is generally how we breathe in yoga. And I want you to see if you can slow the breath down and just really breathe with intention. And you'll be very familiar with this as a runner, this idea of breath control. And the reason we're practicing this at the start of our running stretching today is just a reminder that at any point during your run, you can come back to your breath. So I want you to breathe all the breath out through the nose. And then when you're ready, inhale for a count of 5 through the nostrils. Exhale for a count of 5 through the nose. When you're ready, inhaling through the nose. Exhaling for a count of 5. So it's an equal breath. We're going to do 2 more times. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nostrils. Last round, inhale through the nostrils. And exhale through the nose. You can let go of the counting of the breath, and if you've got your eyes closed, you can open your eyes. So that's just a little reminder that whenever you are running, if you become overwhelmed or you feel like you lose your breath, you can come back to this counted breath. We do it in yoga, we do it in running. Running is just another form of enlightenment, so to speak. So use your breath as you run. All right, we're going to start with the feet, bottom up, so to speak. So I want you to come onto your hands and knees. If you had a cushion, just push it to one side. And I want you to, almost like you're about to stand on your shins. Knees are hip-width apart, and you're going to flex your feet, so it's like you're trying to tuck your toes behind you. All right, so for some of us who have very tender feet, that includes me, rest your hands on the floor and support yourself. The more you press your hips back towards your heels, the stronger the stretch. So sometimes this can feel very intense, and I would say we're looking for a medium level of intensity. Then arrive back at your breath. Some of you will be able to be more upright, hips close to the heels, and bring your hands to your heart. Wherever you're at, come back to your breath, and I want you to have that nice, even inhale and exhale through the nose. The shoulders are relaxed, eyeballs are also relaxed, and these are all little things that you can do while you're running. So you might be running hard, but you can relax your face, relax your jaw, relax your shoulders. Keep stretching the backs of your feet for a couple more breaths here. And exhale, release the breath. All right, rest your hands on the floor, just support yourself so you can untuck your toes. You might just give them a little bang on the floor. And then come to sit your hips towards your heels, your buttocks towards your heels. That might be strong. That's a strong stretch in the quads for a lot of people. But in fact, we're going to use this position to stretch the fronts of our ankles and to stretch our shins. So bring your hands, fingers spread nice and wide, a little bit in front of your knees, but to the outside of your legs, if that makes sense. These are going to be for your support. So you're going to support yourself with your arms and your hands. Take a moment to draw your belly button to spine. And when you're ready, you're going to lift your knees off the floor. And the more you lean back, the more your knees come up, the more stretch you'll feel on the front of your ankles and your shins. Now I want you to relax your shoulders, come back to your breath. You're going to take another full cycle of breath here, nice and strong. Inhale and exhale, counting the breath if you need to. And at the bottom of your exhale, you can let your knees relax on the floor again. All right, bring your hands forward so that you're in a tabletop position. This is a nice one to do if you find that your spine gets a little bit tense or that your lower back is a little bit tight. As you inhale, you're going to drop the belly, lift the tailbone, lift the heart. So it's like you're stretching through the front side of your body. And then as you exhale, you're going to round the tailbone, push your shoulder blades to the sky, and drop the head. You're going to do that 2 more times. So inhaling, tailbone and gaze lift, belly drops. As you exhale, round the tailbone first, push the shoulder blades up, relax the head. Cow-cat pose, or cat-cow pose if you like. Inhale, stretch through the front body again. Just draw your shoulder blades together. Exhale, round the back body. All right, come back to a neutral spine. Bring your big toes to touch, tuck your toes again. You're going to walk your hands back to your knees, but this time lift your knees all the way up and take your knees wide. So it's like you're sitting in a little squat with your feet together, but your knees wide. So this is stretching through the Achilles and the calf muscles here, as well as getting into the groin and the hips. You can walk your hands forward. By the way, you might not look like me, and I might not look like you, and that's okay. If your hands don't easily touch the floor, this is where you put a couple of books or a couple of blocks into them. But most importantly, just drop your head and let your head relax. We want the brain to relax inside the skull and come back to your breath. And so this mindful breathing is all practice to be aware of your breath while you're running. And at the same time, we get to stretch our body in preparation and repair for the race. Take another moment here, just really relax your head, relax your shoulders. And this time you can just let the breath go through the mouth. Just sigh it out. All right, if your hands are on something, just take it to one side. You're going to inhale, lift your gaze, bring your knees together, and you're going to come in to a forward fold. But I want to just give you some cues for this. First of all, take your feet hip width apart. And then I want you to bend your knees a lot. So what I see a lot of people with tight lower backs doing is just trying to reach the floor. And actually, that's not what this pose is trying to do. This pose is trying to stretch your hamstrings and to release your lower back. So we actually don't want tension in the lower back. One way you can do that is to take your hands on your hips, draw belly button to spine, lengthen the spine first as you're inhaling, and then very slowly with the knees bent, try and stick your lower belly to your thigh. That may or may not happen, that's okay. Relax the head completely, and then let the hands dangle. And don't worry if your hands don't touch the floor, that's not the point here. You're better to have bent knees and stretchiness in the backs of your legs than to have your fingers on the floor. All right, for those of you who have more stretch, you might be able to touch the floor with your hands, and that's okay. If you are very stretchy in this department, I want you to try and push the bony butt bones, if that makes sense, up towards the sky, and keep drawing your belly button in. If you're like, oh my God, is she ever going to stop with this forward fold because I feel like my legs will break in two, then I want you to keep breathing and maybe just back off a little bit. Maybe put your hands on your shins or even your thighs for support. All right, take another breath here. And as you exhale, you're going to press your feet into the floor more, bend your knees more, and use your inhale. You can press your hands into your legs for support to slowly, slowly, slowly come up. And just pause a moment. Sometimes you feel a little yoga stoned after being upside down for so long. All right, so those are the technicalities of a forward fold for stretching your hamstring and your lower back. I want to give you one more option with this, because this, honestly, you should do this every night before you go to bed, every morning before you wake up, in the entire week before the marathon. And I want you to find a wall. I'm going to use a wooden beam on my wall here, but if you've got a regular wall, that's fine. And I want you to just rest back against it. So let your back, even the back of your head, touch the wall, and walk your feet about 30 centimeters out in front of the wall with your feet hip-width apart. You're going to bend your knees a little bit. We're going to do a forward fold, but with support of the wall. So you're going to leave your spine touching the wall. Slowly, slowly, you can slide your hands down towards the floor, towards your feet, and just hang. And if you don't feel you've got the support of the wall completely, sometimes walking your feet a little bit further out in front of the wall is a nice trick. And then just come back down again. But you could literally hang here anything from 3 to 5 minutes. Legs can stay bent. You're just straightening the legs, straightening the knees as much as feels good for you. And I want you to continue focusing on your breath. And if you get bored, that's okay. You can inhale, count the breath in for 5. Exhale, count the breath out for 5. We are not going to hold this a full 5 minutes because we already did a nice 2 or 3 minute forward fold. But this pose is going to be your best friend. The other thing that we say in yoga is that when your head is below your heart, this is like a free happy pill. So it actually makes you feel better about life, better about running, which is exactly what you want for marathon day. Just take a couple more breaths here. And remember, if your lower back is tight, you can support your hands on your thighs. Take a slow breath out through the nose or the mouth. Press your feet down. And then you're going to take a big inhale through the nose and slowly roll up. Just let your back rest against the wall again and just pause. All right. That's your best friend for the next week. All right. Couple more. Some of my favorites that I'm going to share with you. And we're going to lie down for these. So I have one of these blocks or a couple of big, thick books heavy. But for now, place your feet on the mat, hip or on your yoga space, hip-width apart, knees to the sky, and you're going to roll your spine all the way down. When you're there, just pause. Make sure that the back of your head, all of your back body, your shoulder blades, your lower back are on the floor, and you're going to leave your left foot where it is, but you're going to hug your right knee in towards your chest. All right, so we're going to do another stretch for the hamstrings. You can do both, or you can choose the one that you like best to do more regularly. But you're going to take your right foot, so this is the foot of the knee that's squeezed into the chest, and press it up, the sole of the foot, press it up towards the sky. Toes are coming towards the face. And again, we're not worried about how straight our leg goes. We're worried about how much juicy, good stretch we feel behind that leg. So you don't have to grab your toes, that's the good news. You can grab behind your thigh, but make sure your shoulders stay on the floor. So this one I see a lot of runners doing, like picking up. As soon as you pick up, you lose the stretch. So leave your head, neck, shoulders all on the floor. You might look more like this with your knee bent, but as long as your toes are flexing down towards your face, you're still going to get a stretch. And then work on pressing the heel towards the sky, even if your leg doesn't go straight. And then I want you to breathe. So we're breathing in and out through the nose still. And I want you to imagine that you're directing your breath behind the thigh that you're stretching, so behind your right thigh, and helping your hamstrings soften. If you feel any lifting of that right hip off the floor, I want you to press the right hip back down to earth. And remember, face, neck, head, shoulders all very, very relaxed. Take another couple of breaths. And then let all the breath go. All right, we're going to transition this to what we call a reclined pigeon. You might have heard it called figure 4. You're going to take the top ankle, this is your right ankle, and you're going to place it above the opposite knee. And just let your right knee drop out to the side so your left foot is still on the floor. If you already feel like this is a big stretch in your right hip, I want you to stay exactly where you are. The other option is to walk the left foot, this is your bottom foot, closer to the body, or grab behind the left thigh or in front of the left shin. So again, one of the things I see is people point their toes. You want to keep your ankles flexed. This is going to be better for your knees. And don't lift the head, neck, shoulders off. If you have grabbed in front of the shin and everything is lifted up, I want you to let that go, grab behind the thigh, or even just rest your hands next to the body. So imagine that your spine is lengthening as you're here and breathing, and you can gently press the right knee away, or for more stretch, pull the left leg in closer to the body. Now, running, we have to be tough, we have to be strong, we have to push through. Yoga is the opposite of that. I want you to ease into or surrender into rather than push through. Keep breathing deeply. We've got what is probably my all-time favorite stretch coming up next. And so this is going to be your last breath here. Stay with your legs in this shape. So if your left foot is down, I just want you to pick it off the floor. So we've got legs in a reclined pigeon shape. Our right ankle is above the left knee. You're going to keep the shape of your legs. You're going to try and keep your upper back on the floor, but you're going to roll your legs to the left side. So over you go. And when that happens, this top knee, this right knee wants to kind of flop down onto the floor. But I want you to press this leg away from you. So the top knee is pressed away from you. And I want you to see if you can land your shoulder blades, that's both of them, back on the earth. So instead of rolling your chest over to the left side, I want you to roll your right arm over to the right side. And then I want you to come back to the breath and imagine that the right hip, so this is the hip of your top leg, is sinking down towards the floor, that it's relaxing down. And yes, I know that your right buttock and hip is off the floor. That's okay, it's supposed to be. But I want you to imagine it softening, and you'll feel that you get this fantastic stretch in the outer hip area, a little bit around the buttock. So especially for those long, long runs, or if you're relatively new to a 10K, this is going to be a fantastic preparation and repair job for everything around your psoas and your hip flexors. Take a couple more breaths here. Just really let that right hip relax completely. Let all the breath release on a big exhale. And then you're going to slowly use an inhale to bring everything back to center and place both feet back down on the floor again, because we've got a whole nother side to do. We want you to be running with both sides prepared on the weekend. All right, so this time your right foot stays down. You're going to hug your left knee into the chest. And remember, no picking up the head or the neck or the shoulders. And then just gradually begin to straighten this left leg, sole of the foot moving towards the sky, as much as feels good for you. So you can grab behind the left thigh here. If you can't reach behind your leg, this is where you just use a scarf or a strap behind your legs as a little bit of an extension to your arms. Your top toes are not pointed. You're flexing your ankle here and bringing your toes down towards your face. And just doing that usually creates quite a deep stretch. Try to press your heel towards the sky. And remember, as long as you're feeling a stretch behind this top leg, this is what we want. So your leg might be quite bent and you still feel a pretty big stretch. Others who have more flexibility will be able to straighten the leg. But sometimes that's about how our body's built and not much how much yoga we've done. And just as we did on the other side, if you feel the left hip lift off, I want you to keep pressing the top of that left thigh bone down. All right, relax shoulders, come back to your breath. We'll take a few more breaths here. So if your lower back is especially tight, sometimes stretching your hamstrings is a little more accessible lying down than that standing forward fold we did earlier. All right, we're going to turn this into a reclined pigeon. So the top ankle, that's our left ankle, is going to drop just above the opposite knee. Let the left knee open. If that feels like a lot, stay where you are. It's your left hip we're stretching here. If you want more, you can lift the right foot off the floor, knee towards the chest, and grab behind the right thigh or in front of the right shin. Remember to keep your ankles flexed here. This is going to protect your knees. If you've reached for your shin and everything around your head came off the floor, take it lower, reach behind the thigh, or just let the hands relax on the earth. And then imagine that you're stretching your spine long. That feels like your tailbone and the crown of your head reaching away from each other. And then arrive back at your breath, breathing in and out through the nose. Everything around the face is relaxed. Nice and easy. We'll just take a couple more breaths here. Generally speaking, this is a little less tension on the knee and a little more accessible than a regular pigeon pose, which you might have seen in some yoga classes. And you can also do this one sitting up if you prefer. Just make the same shape with your legs, but in a seated position. All right, over we go with the twist. So again, if you were doing this pose with your right foot on the floor, just bring the knees closer to the chest. Leave the legs in that same reclined pigeon shape, but just release your hands and take them out wide. You're going to take your legs over to the right side this time. So over you go. That left knee wants to drop down, but I want you to push it away from you. You can grab onto your ankle or use a block to push the knee away from you. And then let this left hip, which is off the floor, but let it sink down towards the earth. And then make sure that the back of your heart is resting on the floor too. So you're not crawling your chest over to the right side. You're actually taking your left hand and reaching it out to the left. Nice and easy with the breath. And that sense of your left hip melting down. You're going to take 3 more breaths here and really feel a heaviness to the left hip. Remember, you're easing into, surrendering into, not pushing through the stretch here. All right, last cycle of breath here. You're going to breathe all the breath out. And whenever you feel ready for an inhale, you're going to bring your legs back to center and place your feet on the floor. All right, I'm going to use a block for the next one. If you don't have a block, the other option is to take a towel or a blanket and roll it up into a pretty tight roll. This can also work. Or a couple of sturdy cushions or books. If you're using a yoga block, you don't want it on the high side, you want it on the medium or the low side. So we're looking at about anything between sort of 20 and 30 centimeters as a prop. So a blanket can do just as good a job. You're going to place the feet back on the floor, knees to the sky, so legs are hip width apart. You're going to roll back down. But just you might need to bring your heels a little bit closer towards your buttocks for this. All right, we're going to use the block underneath our coccyx. So this is the very base of your spine, not underneath your lower back. You're going to press your feet down, lift your hips up, and you're going to slide your prop at the very, very base of your spine. If it feels too high, take it down a level, unroll your towel a little bit, or use one less book. And you know that it's at the base of your spine and not in your lower back because you can literally grab the top meaty parts of your buttocks with your thumb and your first finger. I'm like, yes, those are still there. All right. You're going to leave your right foot where it is. You're going to hug the left knee into the chest. And again, you might need to strap around that to make that a bit more accessible. If you already feel a very strong stretch on your right hip flexor, I want you to leave the right leg where it is. Ways that you can more deeply stretch the hip flexor on the right side, a couple of things you can do. You can walk the right foot further away from your body, stretch it all the way out, in fact. I already feel that quite a lot. The other thing you can do is more strongly pull the left knee into the chest, in which case the right foot might even come off the floor. So longer and deeper isn't necessarily better in yoga. What you want to find is a place that feels like a nice, juicy stretch with absolutely zero pain attached to it. And your head, neck, and shoulders should be on the floor here. So again, if your hands don't reach in front of your shin, this is where you use a scarf in your hands to kind of give you a little bit of an extension. And then arrive at your breath And notice your breath, how it moves in and out through the nose a few more times. And you wonder why we might cue the breath so much in yoga and how that's helpful as running. It's a great reminder whenever you're running that you can always come back to your breath. And when you're more aware of your breath, you get control of your breath and you have a smoother, more relaxed run. Take another moment here. You're going to slowly bend the right knee if your foot is not on the floor and place the right foot back on the floor. Then you're going to release the left knee and place the left foot back on the floor. And you might need to adjust a little bit with what's underneath you before we do the other side. So here we go. Right knee into the chest. Again, use a strap or a scarf around your knee if your hands don't easily reach. Notice how the left hip flexor feels. If it's already like, oh, that's kind of tight, stay where you are. And remember that the ways that you can deepen into this, and you can just go gradually, is just walk your left foot out a little bit. Notice how you feel. Maybe walk it out a little bit further. Notice how you feel. That already feels a lot with my left leg straight, so it might be the same for you. If you need more stretch, you can hug this right knee in more deeply towards the chest. And then always coming back to your breath. So think of this breathing that we do in yoga as a practice for the breathing that you're going to do in your run this weekend. Head, neck, shoulders, all very relaxed. Breathing deeply in and out through the nose. Take a couple more breaths. Love this pose so much. This is a great prep, but honestly, this is the pose that you want to repair yourself after your run. Last exhale through the nostrils. If your left foot is not on the floor, I want you to bend your knee and place your left foot back down. And then slowly release the right leg and place the right foot back down on the earth. All right, just a moment here. Press both feet down. You're going to lift the hips up, hold them up, take the block to one side, and then roll your vertebrae, each vertebrae of your spine down one at a time. Nice. Let the lower back settle. Keep your belly button to spine. And you're going to drop both knees into your chest. And just take your arms wide. We're going to go into a twist. This is amazing for your lower back. So if your lower back is tight from running at any point, this is the stretch that you want. You're going to keep your legs together and drop your knees over to the left side. If when you do that, your legs don't touch the floor and they're kind of hovering, this is where you can put a cushion or a block underneath or even between the legs. And this is going to actually make the twist more comfortable and still stretch your lower back. So you're actually better to give yourself some support than to just kind of be hovering your legs in space. And then I want you to see if you can get both shoulder blades on the floor. So it's like the back of the heart rests on the earth and the center of your chest is up towards the sky. And then instead of pushing into the pose, I want you to relax your entire body and just let yourself rest here in the twist for a few breaths. So with any of the poses in this class today, if one or two of them you're like, oh my God, that feels amazing, I want you to press pause and I want you to take an extra minute because those are the poses that you need to prepare and recover from your run. And to be honest, the longer that you can hold the poses, the better. But I'd also like to keep your attention today. And so we're not making this a full 90-minute yin relaxing class. All right, one more breath here. Let all the breath go through the nose. You're going to inhale, bring your knees back to center. If you had a prop, use it the same way on the other side. Drop your knees to the right side on an exhale, using the prop underneath your legs or between your knees. And then make sure that you're rolling the back of your heart back down to the earth, opening your heart to the sky, letting the legs and the body relax completely. So there's a sense of heaviness to the body. And just let your forehead relax, let your eyeballs be soft inside your eye sockets, let your jaw be relaxed as well. And if there's any mantras that you're using or any positive affirmations that you're using for your run, then anytime you're in a pose where you're just still, you can let those affirmations run through your mind. I am strong. I am steady. I've got this. Imagine yourself running over the finish line. Take another slow inhale and exhale here. You can let all the breath go through the nose. And this time, instead of rolling back to center, just curl over towards your knees. Keep your head heavy and use your hands to press back up. All right, we've got a couple more poses to do, and then I think you're good to go. This one I like to do sitting on a blanket or a block, and if you generally find it hard to fold forward in any forward, standing forward fold, seated forward fold, then you're definitely going to want to use a cushion or a blanket underneath you. So you're going to sit on that, just your sit bones. So the top part, underside part of your thigh is off the block or the blanket, and then I want you to take your legs wide. So this is a pose called Upavishtakonasana. Don't worry about the Sanskrit. It's amazing for the inner legs, the hamstrings, the hips, the lower back, the pelvis. If when you are seated with your legs wide, this already feels like super tough and it feels like your legs are going to snap in two, you can take blocks or cushions or towels and place them under your knees. Oh, that feels pretty good, I have to say. Under your knees as extra support. Okay. Keep your ankles flexed, keep the backs of your heels pressing down. I want your toes to be towards the sky, so they're not dropping in, they're not dropping out. Again, if you find it hard to fold forward, let's just everybody start with your hands behind you. That might already be enough. Draw your shoulder blades together, lift your heart. Keep breathing in and out through the nose. So if you're like, wow, that's already tight, stay there. If you've got more space, I want you to walk your hands so that they're next to your hips, and I want you to take another inhale and really lengthen your spine. Now, as you exhale, come forward, reaching your heart forward, but I want you to keep your spine super straight. So your idea is not to get your head on the floor. Your idea is to imagine that you're going to get your lower belly on the earth. It's probably not going to happen. That's cool. Don't worry about it. If you've got space, you can bring your hands further forward, remembering that you're not trying to get your face to the earth. You're trying to keep a straight spine and press your heels down and stretch through the inner legs and the backs of your legs. So as long as you feel that stretch on the inner legs, the backs of the legs, maybe on the lower back, it's all good. Relax the face, look down at the earth if you need to, or straight ahead, and take a few breaths in and out through the nose here. And again, keep your ankles flexed, backs of the heels pressing down. Take two more long, smooth cycles of breath here. Long inhale through the nostrils. Long exhale through the nose. One more just like that. Let all the breath go on the exhale. And slowly supporting yourself with your hands, you're going to come up to a nice straight spine. And you can stay seated on this cushion or the block if you want to. Take your hands underneath your knees, and you're going to bend your knees and bring the soles of your feet together. This is what we call butterfly pose. If when you do this, your back automatically rounds, I want you to take your feet further away from you and grab onto your calf muscles or your ankles for support. And as you grab onto your legs, try and have a beautiful straight spine while you're doing this. All right, let your knees drop down towards the earth. So again, you're not pushing them down, you're just easing them down. And if you can get to your feet, you can use the thumbs to actually massage the arches of your feet. This is like dreamy, especially after the race, but it's also a great prep for your race. You can see if you can weave your fingers between your toes. That's normally harder, and just pull your toes back and then draw them together. Pull your toes back, draw them together. Maybe give the arches of your feet a little bit more of a massage. And then try and open your feet like they're pages of a book. And this is going to get your knees to drop a little more closely towards the floor. Take an inhale, lengthen your spine again, and then slightly bend your elbows so that you're reaching your heart forward. And again, here, we're not trying to get our head on the floor. We're just trying to get a really beautiful stretch on the inner legs, on the lower back. Be nice to our feet, which are going to hold you up for kilometers and kilometers and kilometers. And take a few breaths here. And again, if you feel your back rounding, then I really suggest that you actually bring your hands onto your shins or even your thighs so that you can have a straight spine. And taking a slow, easy breath out through the nose. This is going to be your last exhale in this pose. And then inhale, let yourself come back to a straight spine. All right, you're going to let your legs straighten out in front of you, but this time you're just going to let your legs be really soft. Your ankles don't have to flex. You can even like flip your feet from side to side. Just again, know if you're somebody who finds it hard to fold forward, in which case, we're all going to start with our hands behind us and actually lean back and draw the shoulder blades together. So it's like you're opening your heart a little bit as well, which is a nice thing to do, especially after the run, because sometimes when you're running up hills, everything caves inwards and forwards. So just use this to open your heart, always running forwards. All right, that feels like a lot. Stay where you are. If you've got a little bit more space, you can press into your hands, straight spine first, inhale. And then if you've got more space, you can just drape your hands forward over your legs. And this time you do get permission to round your back. So you're literally just letting your upper body drape over your lower body. And keep those ankles relaxed and soft. So it's a nice stretch for the back body here. And just come back to your breath, in and out through the nose. Again, if it's very tight on the backs of your legs, you're welcome to stick a towel or a couple of blocks or books underneath the knees, just to give yourself a little generosity and space. Melt your shoulders, relax your eyeballs, relax your mouth, and just breathe. Another option would be to take one of those blocks or a cushion, or even two if you need them, and just build yourself a little tower so that you can rest your head. And this takes any stress that you might have in the lower back off. I'm going to stay for 5 more breaths here. And just concentrate on how the air feels as it moves in and out through your nose. Try and keep your shoulders relaxed in whatever version of this pose you're in. And try and keep your feet relaxed as well. Let's take one more breath, one more full inhale whenever you're ready. And this time on the exhale, release the breath through the mouth. Just let it go. Use your hands on your legs or the floor for support. And take a slow inhale through the nose and come up. All right, we're going to come back to a seated position. You can go back to your chair or back to your sofa if that feels more comfortable for you. We're going to do one final twist and one heart opener. And you can do this sitting on a chair or on your sofa as well. You don't need a yoga mat for this. So just let your hands relax in your lap or next to your hips. Take an inhale as you lengthen your spine. You'll draw your belly button towards your spine. Just exhale, let the breath go. And then when the next inhale arrives, you're going to sweep the hands up to the sky and twist to the left side. Your legs don't have to be crossed. You're just working on twisting your spine, drawing belly button in. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Feel like you're stretching wide across the chest. Also a very nice one for the lower back. And remember, all the breathing is practice and reminder to come back to your breath when you're running. Take a slow breath out through the nose. As you inhale through the nostrils, you're going to come back to center. Sweep the hands all the way up to the sky again. Exhale, twist to the right side or the opposite direction. Keep the shoulders relaxed, keep the chest wide, keep the belly button drawing in. And if you twist far enough back, you'll generally just feel a nice little stretch across the lower back. One more breath. And let it all go on the exhale. I want you to inhale, come back to center, reach the fingertips to the sky. Keep inhaling, sip a little bit more breath in. Hold the breath. Squeeze the pelvic floor. chin to chest, hold the breath, and then you're gonna exhale through the mouth, let it release. All right, stay seated wherever you are as long as you're comfortable. I want you to just rest your hands in your lap, lower or close your eyes, relax your mind. Notice how the breath moves in and out through the nostrils. And in whichever language feels most natural for you, I want you to say the words, I am strong, I am fast, I am free. I am strong, I am fast, I am free. One more time, I am strong, I am fast, I am free. And I want you to feel those words literally permeating all of your DNA. So it's not just words, you're literally creating a magical spell to keep you going in those moments that feel challenging throughout your run. I am strong, I am fast, I am free. And then I want you to just take these final moments here together to literally visualize yourself running over the finish line. So if you've never been to Geneva before and this is your first time, I want you to Google the Pont de Mont Blanc. I want you to Google what the finish line looks like afterwards. But for now, just think of yourself surrounded by other runners, everybody smiling, everybody laughing, everybody running. You can see the colors of the finish line ahead, the big blow-up archway. You can hear the announcer and you feel the sun on your skin, the wind blowing across your body through your hair as you run with a big smile on your face across the finish line, feeling an incredible sense of accomplishment and strength and freedom. You've done this. You've totally got this race covered. You're going to go out there and have an amazing time and enjoy every single moment. Take a couple of bigger breaths here. Just feeling that uplifting energy of crossing the finish line in one piece with a big smile on your face. Take another big breath. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining this yoga, running, stretching class. Please use all or parts of it for your race preparation, as well as to repair yourself after your race. I promise you it will make you feel better. I have used these postures or these stretches over and over again in my own running lifetime, and I hope that they work for you as well as they have worked for me. So have an amazing race this weekend. Thank you so much for joining on Emergency Yoga, and I hope to see you next time. You can always catch me free on emergencyoga.org or on Donnaprana Yoga on YouTube for lots of free classes. Namaste.